graduated and will be heavily favored to score in today's 7th race. The top earner in the field is looking for her 3rd career victory. Pause for the cause, jogged at the spa last month in a race transferred, like today's feature, from turf to the main track and will be aiming to school her elders. She'll have a formidable foe in the next stall as the speedy Noble Freud makes her 2nd start off a long layoff for Chad Brown. And her only start at 6 furlongs on dirt was a sparkling 6-length debut victory. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. It is a beautiful day here at Belmont Park. Look at the picnic area, and the flag is flying. The New York Racing Association. Thank you very much for joining us. Alongside Paul LaDuca, longtime catcher in Major League Baseball for, of course, the New York Mets and Los Angeles Dodgers, and the New York Racing Association's Andy Serling will be joining Maggie Wolfendale shortly. Larry Colmus will call the races. Gentlemen, how's week 2 going at Belmont Park?
Not bad. How are you doing today?
I feel great. We had a little late scratch of the Meadowlands Turf Meet, and I'm able to hang out with you.
Jersey's loss is New York's game.
That's what I'm talking about. Good to be with you guys. Andy, how are things?
Things are great. You know, I mean, off the turf days are funny. Obviously, we'd prefer that the weather was nice and the turf was firm and we had all the turf races in, and we had some good turf races scheduled. But I think you have to try to, look, you do have to try to make lemonade out of lemons. You have to look at the right side. And not all races will be like this, but sometimes they'll present you with opportunities. And I think if you look at today's 8th race, a race where materiality was going to be a heavy, heavy favorite on the turf, I think the race is wide open now in the dirt and is arguably a better betting race.
Yeah, if you don't buy into Pause for the Cause, is your heavy favorite in there or not? And you could maybe see 2 others in there that can beat her 3-year-old filly that is on the upswing. It might be a better dirt horse rather than the turf horse.
Let's take a look at our track conditions. We talked about the weather. We are off the turf. However, the track is fast, and the weather and track conditions are presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Here's a look at what we will cover on today's show. At 4:14 p.m. we kick off the late pick 4 with race number 6. It's a maiden claiming event with a lot of first-time starters and some second-time starters as well. So some interesting pedigree angles to kick things off. Race 7 is a starter allowance that we touched on the Open, which has been taken off the turf to be run at a mile. Then our featured 8th race, allowance optional claimer, 6 furlongs, and we close things out with maiden claimers. Let's take a look at the field for race number 6 as well as the early action, and you can see we have a tepid favorite right now in number 9, Annette's Humor, a first-time starter for Steve Asmussen, Irad Ortiz Jr. Those two have had some fun here at Belmont Park, Andy.
Yeah, but the Asmussen barn, you want to look at their stats in New York because Toby Sheets is a trainer. I look at Aqueduct and Belmont, just 2 for 26 with 2-year-old firsters and dirt sprints. And I feel as though right now the board's wide open and the 2 Prairie Fire and the 9 Annette's Humor are simply favored because they're both firsters. Because if a firster could really run in here, that horse would be a very short price. I think this is an opportunity to make some money in here.
It's an opportunity to get some insight up close and personal. And for that, we go to the paddock and Maggie Wolfendale.
We will try to do just that, Frank, as riders are up here in the paddock. And we'll start things off with the 2 firsters that are taking money, one of which is number 2, Prairie Fire for Danny Gargan. Now, she shows up and she presents herself as a quick-looking filly. I mean, she is sharp as well, little bit green at times thus far here in the paddock. The only knock I can say is that she does show up wearing the front bandages, but she looks very fit, very well prepared, and would not be surprised whatsoever if this one blasts away from the gate. Next, we'll move on to number 9. That is Annette's Humor. Now, she's a little bit on the bigger side. Not quite as handy looking, but she does seem sharp in here. And I like the fact that she does have that size as a young filly here in this maiden claimer for the 2-year-olds. Pretty fit overall. Wish she was maybe a little bit more tucked up, to be quite honest, given her somewhat short price. Now, number 7 is Big Brown Cat. I know Andy has a case for this one, but looking at her here in the paddock, I think this is the most fit now in her 3rd career start. She looks great as far as her strength behind the saddle. She looks strong. She's got a nice shoulder muscle to her as well, and those blinkers go on. So I think she might show a more professional effort, and plus getting the drop in class. And then one going from turf to dirt is number 11, Ross by for Carlos good speed in that turf sprint, so that's a promising indication, given the fact, too, that she was down on the rail. I feel as though it's never that easy to be that quick away from there when you have to stand in the gate for so long, as she did with 8 other rivals that day. And she is very fit in here, and switching surfaces, I'm okay with that, despite her being a daughter of Courageous Cat. I think she's somewhat usable here as well. Frank?
Thank you very much, Maggie. We'll get back to you for more. And, of course, Maggie's report brought to you by Hillendale Farm, home of violence. We had another violence filly breaking her maiden before the show started in race number 4. Paul LaDuca puts together a pick 4 as the horses are called onto the track. Paul, tell us about it.
Well, deep here, obviously, and then it's going to go down to 3 to 2 to 2, 3, 7, 9. And then the last 2 races, 6 and 8. Pause for the cause. I do think Summer Sweet and Noble Freud are going to be tough in there. The 13 is probably going to be the horse to beat in the last. I like the 1 a tiny bit. I think that horse is going to run for Rudy Rodriguez.
All right, here's the post parade. We kick it off with number 1, Salt Hay Bay, trained by Rudy Rodriguez.
Well, this one actually ran against dirt horses in a maiden special and took money in her debut. She just did no running.
Number 2, Prairie Fire, will be next in the post parade, a daughter of Posse, and Maggie said she looks pretty quick. We'll see her in just a moment. There she is.
Yeah, she debuts with Lasix, and she has a nice little drill, 2 back, and 27% Danny Gargan on this move.
Number 3, a long shot in here, is Catch My Breath for Gary Gullo.
Well, Gary Gullo is very good with first-time stars and maiden claimers in the dirt. Source is taking no money whatsoever.
Next to the post parade, number 4, L.A. Page, out of a mare who was 1 for 10, but did hit the board 9 times.
Another horse with decent works, but she's not taking that much money. Jeremiah Englehart owns and trains this gray filly.
Number 5, Devil's Flair. Another big price in here, Andy.
Tried the turf first time, did no running. First foal, not a lot of pedigree.
Here's number 6, Dee's Sis, in the colors of Roddy Valente, whose one jacket is worth more than my entire wardrobe.
Not saying much.
This is a filly that got actually bet first time out, showed speed against better, now drops and is not really taking money, and draws Jose Ortiz.
Big Brown Cat is number 7. Andy, not a very good beginning last time out.
I like this horse. This horse was completely eliminated at 2 points early in the race and showed surprising speed and was heavily favored considering last time. Deserves another chance.
Paul, Gary Contessa is heating up. He did so at the Spa, and he's doing it now. He trains number 8, Alphabeting.
Yeah, and she didn't have the best of trips. She didn't break great. In the Espresso Shot came back to win a little bit earlier for this one for VIP Stables.
Annette's Humor is the first-time starter by Shackelford for Steve Asmussen.
Now, this is a second foal. Madame was first runner, could do a little bit of running. Not from a barn that New York has a great amount of success with firsters, but taking a little bit of money.
The Dam herself, 1 for 17. Here's the 10, Mimic by Friesen Fire.
This filly took money first time out from the 1 hole, at least a little bit from 10 to 1, and didn't really show much. Now Castellano takes over.
Number 11 is Rossby, taking some play at 4 to 1.
This horse is the old turf to dirt angle, something that's worked well for trainer Carlos Martin in the past as a second-time starter.
And the 12, Minute Moss, Gary Siaka trains 41 to 1 currently.
Yeah, the filly by Courageous Cat. The longest shot on the board here will debut with Lasix, Rajiv Mara in the irons.
Let's talk about number 7, Big Brown Cat, Andy. 8 to 1 right now, so about half the morning line. There is some action on a filly who has been troubled.
But judging by the double, this horse's price will go up. You can see in the pan shot that she is going to get sort of drops back at the start. Now, you don't know exactly why because you can't tell from a pan shot. But you have a horse that's now probably a conservative 4 lengths behind the leader, and you're going to see her move up within the first furlong or so, where she gets herself very, very close to the lead. But it's not until we watch the head-on where you can see what actually happens. And I'm hoping we can roll this for about a couple hundred yards because not only does she get absolutely slammed by the horse outside of her, she gets pushed into the 1, and so she's effectively taken out of the race, a horse that could have had speed. And now you see Joel Rosario with that sort of turquoise hat is searching for room to get outside, and he gets bounced around between horses again. So she's got 2 significant situations, specific instances of trouble. This is not a stakes-winning horse. These kind of horses get intimidated by that. So the fact that she was basically eased doesn't bother me a great deal. I think the fact that she was 7-2 last time means you want to give her another chance, and she's going to be 12-15 to 1 today, so I don't mind losing a few bucks on a horse like this.
She's a young filly, and so therefore that was her first dirt start. She debuted on grass. So for her, that's basically essentially her debut effort on the main track, and it wasn't fun. You got to toss that race right
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to give her another chance, and clearly if she can break cleanly, we know she has speed.
Again, you look at Paul's late pick 4 ticket, $160,000 pool and growing. Andy, this question for you. When you talk about maiden special weight to maiden claiming, oftentimes that is a dramatic drop. In this case, it's $50,000 and it's state breds. How do you rank this?
It's an interesting point. In general, with New York breds, with state breds, it's not as big a drop. Right. You'll see an interchanging situation where maiden claimers and maiden specials will run together. So I want to judge some of the fields they ran against. For instance, a horse like the 10 Mimic, who I'm shocked is 11 to 1 right now and not half that price. I mean, she ran against significantly better horses. The 1-2 horses in there are solid New York breds. I look at the fields, but Frank, I agree with the point you're trying to make, which is it is not as big a drop as it is with Open Company.
Number 9, Annette's Humor, Paul, a first-time starter by Shackelford. They bought her for $100,000. Shackelford stands for 20. Your thoughts?
Well, listen, it's Midwest Thoroughbreds, it's Irad Ortiz Jr. and it's Steve Asmussen. So you got 3 great connections here. She debuts with Lasix, and she does not have flashy works. You look at the rest of the horses in here, they show works. She really doesn't, except her first 2 of her career. So maybe the money showing up on the board is telling.
She is a 3 to 1 favorite.
Is she really getting bet that strongly? You see the Asmussen name. You see Irad Ortiz riding. And you look at a field where you look through it and you go, my God, I can't make a case for anybody that's ever run. So, I mean, I just feel like if there was a first, like, we know the 2, Prairie Fire, is completely dead on the board at 7 to 1. Now, this horse is taking some money, but don't you feel if word was out that Annette's Humor could run, she could be 6 to 5 in this race?
But I think if word was out that strongly, you'd be looking at a maiden special weight. And a 50, isn't there a little more poker to the whole situation? Can you show your entire hand in the
Maybe, Frank, maybe. I'm going to stick with the stats. It says this barn does not do well in these circumstances at Belmont and Aqueduct. I'm not saying the horse can't win. In a spread pick 4, you've got to use her. But
who are your other contenders, Andy?
I don't understand why Mimic is such a big price in here. Javier Castellano takes the mount on this one, okay? 10 to 1 against Elgin, Zip, and Toss Up ran 1-2, who are both pretty heavily favored in there, is actually taking some money and now drops down. I actually thought Mimic might be favored in this race. I completely misread the race.
There's a look at number 11, Rossby for Carlos Martin. Certainly showed very good speed in her debut.
Got hustled to the front by Kendrick Carmouche from the rail after breaking a little bit flat-footed. Now goes to the complete outside, so maybe she'll be able to rate. And you always like horses that are maybe bred a little bit for the turf to get to the outside at least, so the dirt doesn't get kicked in their face that early, although this is only a 1-turn race. But, you know, she's taking a little bit of action as well at 4 to 1 because I think the public just doesn't really know who to bet.
I'm going to guess Carlos Martin loves Rossby today. He's a man who rarely lacks confidence in his horses.
That's a good attitude. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Guys, I just want to talk about horses that warmed up well out on the track. One of them includes number 8, Alpha Betting, who goes out for Gary Contessa, who is already experiencing quite a day himself. 2 wins on the card, and Alpha Betting, a daughter of Alpha, debuted on the turf first time out, and while there wasn't much production on the bottom side immediately, you would have to think that Alpha, being a son of Bernardini, is going to be much more of a better influence on the main track, and this gal just got over it very nicely beneath Joelle Rosario. She's super fit as well. I think Alpha Betting could get a piece of this, and she is taking quite a bit of money as well. Not at a huge price. That's number 5 at 40 to 1. Devil's Flair, another one going turf to dirt, but another one that warmed up very nicely beneath Joe Bravo. She was acting up a bit in the paddock, but once she got out here, she put her mind to business, and I like what I saw from her as far as her stride and getting over this main track. Frank?
Thank you very much. They're moving into line. Andy, your final thoughts other than what you've already talked about?
I boxed 7, 10, 11 in this race, and I'm hoping for the best.
Paul, I know you went very deep in your pick 4.
Yeah, I went very deep. If I was going to play a win bet, I'd take a shot with the 4. We haven't talked about the 4 as much. A first-time starter for Jeremiah Engelhardt. He owns this one. He, to me, can spot this horse for a lot less. They paid 22. They could have maybe gone for a little bit less, but the fact that they put her in for 50. Shows a little bit of confidence.
He's the owner and trainer, three siblings, and they all raced many, many times. Very busy careers for the family of L.A. Page, who will take her spot right now, the daughter of Honorable Dillon, who is by the great Tappet. Last few left to load. Let's go up to the voice of the New York Racing Association, Larry Colmus, for the call of race 6.
Just 3 left to load now as Devil's Flair comes up to the starting gate next. And that will leave Dee's Sis and Minute Mouse to be the last 2 to load. Minute Mouse and Rajiv Mirage coming up to the outside stall to complete this field of 12, and they're all in line. They're off. It was a good beginning for Dee's Sis and Annette's Humor. These two came out the best. Rossby is away running in third. Big Brown Cat is fourth. Then Devil's Flair and Salte Bay on the inside. Prairie Fire is next. And then Mimic, who's 7 lengths off the lead as they move for the turn. Alphabeting is next by another 3. Then L.A. Page, Minute Mouse, and far behind is Catch My Breath at the back of the pack. 22.35 was the opening quarter mile for Dee's Sis and Jose Ortiz, and they're on top by 3/4 of a length. Big Brown Cat second between horses, and Annette's Humor is third on the outside. 3 lengths ahead of Mimic in fourth, Rossby fifth, and then comes Salte Bay sixth down toward the inside. Alphabeting is getting going now. Alphabeting is 7 lengths behind, but beginning to make a run on the outside of horses as they come toward the top of the stretch. 45.85 was the half. They're into the stretch, and it is Dee's Sis who kicks away by 2.5 lengths here. And then it's Annette's Humor in second. L.A. Page finishing well now on the outside. Takes second, still 3 lengths behind and is closing in with every stride. L.A. Page full of run. L.A. Page finishing strong. Storms by Dee's Sis and pulls away in the end. It was a long way back to Rossby, and then came Alphabeting.
L.A. Page storms home. It looked like Dee's Sis was long gone, but this first-time starter mowed her down.
Yeah, a great call by Paul, mentioning this sort of before they went to the gate. And saved ground, and she closed like a wildebeest to run down the 6. Dee's Sis for Ronnie Valenti, who looked to be home free.
Right? I mean, the 6 outbroke this field, and when you get lower-level claimers, usually this doesn't happen, but I looked at both of you. I said the 4 is absolutely rolling, so is the 8. And watch Eric Cancel swing her to the outside. And a good job for him not trying to get her to switch leads, because she's picking up the leader without doing that.
Wasn't she 15-1 when you said you liked her? She went 15-10 when the horses were in the gate.
She flew on by. And again, you got to pay attention to this. This is an owner and a trainer that could have placed this horse aggressively, places his horses up in Finger Lakes, a lot of different places, but he decided at a $50,000 tag for a horse they paid only $22 for, they showed confidence, and you got 10-1.
4-6, it's a photo for third. It looked like 11-8. We always wait for the placing judges to make those calls. The 8, I thought, made a nice little move. That was Alphabeting around the far turn. Didn't sustain it as strongly, but maybe one to
Frank,
watch for the future.
There isn't a single horse in this race besides the 4 and 6 that I would ever bet in a race in New York again.
Okay.
Maybe Aqueduct in February.
There is
Will
your
you be
winner,
calling?
number 4, L.A. Page. Honorable Dillon. Bought her for $22,000. Honorable Dillon stands for $5,000. Congratulations to the connections. We will watch her strut back to the winner's circle and take a timeout. When we return, we'll get you the prices and catch up with the winning connections.
Eclipse champion Blame is having a breakout year in 2018. Among the nation's leading sires of stakes horses, his recent top runners include Fault, Maraud, Marley's Freedom, Beyond Blame, and Miss Kentucky. He's also making a name for himself internationally with French Classic winner Singman. And with yearlings bringing up to $350,000, this 3-time Grade 1 winner offers outstanding value. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park live here in race number 6 in the books. A New York-bred maiden claimer for the 2-year-old fillies, and piloting the winner, L.A. Page, in here, Eric Cancel. And Eric, considering the way the track has pretty much been playing all day, and probably situational with good horses on the lead, it was foreseeably tough to run down the loose on the lead kind of leader. And you did. You went from last to first here, and she really kicked it in the stretch.
Yeah, the filly, she didn't broke that quick, you know. I want to leave her comfortable. I don't want to rush her already. She already missed the break a little bit. So I try to give her her best chance. I left her comfortable, and then as soon as I got her in the bridle, she started picking it up really nice. So it worked out really well.
And almost still kind of green, but really running through the wire, too.
Yeah, I mean, she was a little bit green, but like I said, I gave her her best shot. I didn't try to make her do too much. I mean, I don't want to hit her over what I need to do, you know. And she ran really good. I wasn't really expecting her to run that big, but she did. She proved me wrong, so it worked out really well.
Now, truth be told, owned and trained by Jeremiah Engelhardt. Had you talked to him before the race, and did he seem confident?
I didn't spoke to him, but I spoke to the assistant. She had some confidence on the horse. She said that the filly worked really good last time, and she said warm her up good, and I think we have a really good shot to win it. That's what I did, and it worked out well.
Well done, you. Congratulations here, Eric, with L.A. Page.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Well, last or first victory for this 2-year-old first-time starter, and look, Jeremiah, owner and trainer. That's when you take home the big checks, guys.
That was fantastic work to have her ready, and the work that Eric Cancel was referring to. 4 furlongs breezing from the gate, 4th best that day. 22.60 the win mutual on L.A. Page, leading to a $1 exact of $94.25.
Congratulations to this great filly by Honorable Dylan out of the Raffy's Majesty mare, Stellar Maiden. RF, HF mares Rule 3. The breeders here, and like you said, Mr. Engelhardt, owner, trainer. Here's your pick 5 follow along. Started out pretty good, Mirror Man. $10 to this horse, $22. Black Canary was 4th choice in a 5-horse field. So if you're alive, you just got to get there now.
There have been many discarded tickets thus far. Let's talk about Golden Gate and the great Golden Gate promo on Naira Bets. It gives you a 20% winner's bonus on all your pick 4 bets at Golden Gate Fields Fridays in September. Golden Gate is just getting started today, so head to NyraBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get those Golden Gate Pick 4 bets in. Look, winning is sweet, but when you get a 20% winner's bonus, it's a little bit sweeter.
Listen, 5-2 in Northern California is the same as 5-2 in Elmont, New York.
Tell you what, Paul's like a prophet.
I mean, that was unbelievable. That was something that I'm
so
going
proud
to take that with
been
me.
here for that happened.
I'm going to put that in a little container. And
Buddha would have been proud to have been there for that.
That is something unbelievable.
That was.
Let's get moving right
We
along
should go home now.
to race number 7. This one will be at 1 mile. The host isn't supposed to laugh too much. That's what I was told. I thought Hexameter was going to be a heavy favorite in here, but from the early stages of wagering, she's getting some company. I know Andy will give us the...
No, she's a slight favorite over the 9 if you look at the doubles right now.
I know, but it's all about the multi-race. You have to pay attention to those things. I agree with you.
Well, I think it also demystifies it when people say, oh, that late money came in. It's no, the horse gravitated the odds you knew it was going to be if you looked at the daily doubles.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. Look at this beautiful day that we're enjoying at Belmont Park. When we come back, we start the late pick 3, and hopefully for those of you watching, we continue your success in that NYRA Bets late pick 5.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome in third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Big weekend at Woodbine. Of course, it's the Grade 1 Rico Woodbine Mile, but there are a lot of stakes races there in Ontario, Canada, and we are excited to incorporate some of these races into our shows, as well as a great wagering opportunity as well. Let's take a look at the Woodbine Weekend Stakes. Andy, this is what it's all about up at Woodbine.
Woodbine's a great track. They do a great job there. Their simulcast feed is really as good as it is anywhere, any racetrack in North America. Everybody there does a sensational job, and they got great racing this weekend. And Woodbine Mile, I'm excited that we'll be covering the Woodbine Mile and Canadian on our show tomorrow, and the 2 stakes for 2-year-olds on Sunday.
Yeah, because those 2 stakes are...
They're fun races.
They are. The Summer and the Talma, if you go over the perils of time, they produced a lot of Breeders' Cup winners and some other great winners, too.
All right, we have an excellent cross-countries Big 4 coming up tomorrow.
Intercontinental Big 4.
Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Look at this. I mean,
they will not be running
peace and tranquility. I think they're feeling better than us. Let's take a look at the field. I still can't believe Delta Prince didn't catch Voodoo Song. I'm waiting to see him go by if it's ever going to happen.
So that's why he lost.
But it's, yes, I stopped him at the 16th ball. Let me ask you this. What about Oscar Performance? Isn't it refreshing to see him come back after being pulled up?
Oh, it's great to see him back. And if he runs back to his race in the poker, he's going to win this race in all likelihood. And I do think he's the worst to beat in here. I respect Delta Prince a great deal. Thought he ran very well. No disgrace to lose to Voodoo Song. And I'm not going to use Voodoo Song's race in the Baruch to hold this against Delta Prince. He's a horse. Jimmy Jerkin's done a great job with him. I think that he and Oscar Performance are very much the 2 American horses to beat. But I'll tell you something. There's more than just American horse in here. There's Lord Glitters for David O'Meara, who won this race with Monty Elise 3 years ago.
Hold on, I'm waiting for him to go by. Is it going to happen?
He'll get by in this one, Frank. You can cash. Go up
you.
the window and cash. He just can't get by Voodoo Song.
Get up, son.
But let me just mention Lord Glitters and, his trainer, David O'Meara, who won with Monty Elise, won this race 3 years ago, shipped in to win. Monty Elise also won the Arlington Million the next year. And Stormy Antarctic, I don't think he should be ignored at a price for trainer Ed Walker, who's done very well with some long shots he's shipped over here to run the turf over the last few years. So for me, the 3, the 5, the 3, the 6, the 7, the 9, Delta Prince and Oscar Performance and the 2 Euros. They're my main 2. Main 4, I should say.
That's how you get through leg 1. Paul, leg 2, we come back here to Big Sandy, and we have a field of 8. The morning line favorite is the 4, Arch of Troy.
Yeah, and it's probably a horse or a filly that you want to try to beat. Drop down for the tag, drop down for this bottom at 35 non-3 on a yielding track, ran second. Then Belmont put the blinkers on, ran second again. And when you keep tinkering with a horse that's 2-1 on the morning line, you might want to look towards the 7, Enthusiastic Gal. Now, she's run well at 3 different racetracks, and she's going to come back to Belmont where she did win for the 40 non-2. Now she's going to face 35 non-3. This was a good race. You know, when she got this job done, she went to Laurel and made a good account of herself, running a good 3rd there, and now she comes back of the scene of this crime right here where she won. So definitely the one to beat, but I think this race is so wide open. I'm going to probably use many in there. Blue Atlas, I think, could be a player. And I also think the outside horse, Who's with Brandon, is a horse that you might want to use at 12-1.
Then we go back to Woodbine, about 1.125 miles on the turf for the Canadian, presented by the JRA. Grade 2 event, Andy.
Can't escape Chad Brown as long as you stay in the continental, North America, I should say, because he's got 2 in here in Flexibility and New Money Honey, the tower over the field. And frankly, I'd like to get the 2-1 morning line in Flexibility. Frank, you might want to unload because she looks about 3-5 in here. And if Inflexibility is able to run back to a race up at Woodbine earlier this year when she finished second to a very talented Chad Brown runner in Santa Monica, she's almost a lock in this field. There's speed to run at. She should get a good trip. And frankly, I think Inflexibility, if there's a single in the sequence, it's her. If you want to back up, it's New Money Honey. The others are running for 2nd and 3rd.
She absolutely loves this place as well. And that's
She's a very good horse in Flexibility.
She is.
There's a look at the contenders. As far as you're concerned, you're just saying there's no other way to go.
I'm going to use her as a main single. I'll have a small backup ticket with some of my top choices in the other races. We'll see. Because at the end of the day, the next race we're going to talk about, the Sands Point here.
Good luck.
I think this race is an all. You know I'm not an all guy, but I don't think there's a single horse in this race, Paul, that can't win.
No, look, at the top of my form, I put all. I really did. I wrote down 4 horses, and the reason why Andy says that is you have a horse like the 2. Forgive me if I forget these names wrong. Shadon, the 2 in here.
That sounded right.
Victorine or Victorine, the 5. The 6, Colonia, who could get better. I even think Secret Message has got a shot. The Neil Drysdale horse is getting better as
He was good last time.
Very good.
Gold Rush.
And then you got to beat 2 Chad Brown runners. It's a very confusing race. You really don't have much pace or a true front runner, but Reverse the Decision was very, very good last time out. Maybe the 2 Shadan is the horse that they're going to have to catch, or the speed, but this was Reverse Decision last time out at Saratoga over a little bit of a yielding turf course. And Chad's horses usually bode well at Woodbine because the longer the stretch, the better for him.
This is at Belmont.
Well, I'm just saying that, I'm sorry, this is at Belmont, yeah. But I'm saying that no, this is at Saratoga, right?
Well, that's Saratoga. This one, the Sands Point Stream run at Belmont.
Oh, it's going to be run at Belmont. I mean, you're right. I'm sorry. But I think
you want to go through that? What's that again? Who's on first?
Yeah, she's never run at Belmont, but I think that long stretch, they always get better here.
This is a terrific race. The Sands Point, this is a really, really strong competitive race.
Campbell Temptress, I think, is going to go up. I think that's the one horse to maybe play against in the race.
Right, she can win, but she doesn't have to beat these horses.
Yeah.
She'll be short.
Back to Belmont Park, so that is the cross-country wager, which will be across countries. And
should we call it the cross countries, pick 4?
I'm excited about that.
Are you betting it?
I'm excited about the single now. I love when you give me a 4-5 single. You're very good at that. And when you do, you're usually right because you don't like chalk. You know who else doesn't like chalk? Marcus Hirsch of the Daily Racing Form. When he picks them, they're good too. There's certain people that do not like favorites. Let's take a look at the field here for race number 7. This is on the main track now, Andy. So therefore, your original picks are out the window. In some cases, you end up with with the same horses, but you have to readjust, which I know you always do for your fans that follow along.
Yeah, I mean, Hexameter's a horse to beat. I don't think there's any real argument against it, and I don't think she really has a problem with the mile. She's run well at this distance before. I do think you have to worry about how the race is going to be run, because we've seen the inside speed be good, and even the last winner, Paul, that closed, came up the rail before she went to the outside. And Hexameter may be outrun by others near, particularly Radiant Beauty, but even the 2 Regal Dame. Could that compromise her chances a little bit?
A tiny bit. You make a great point with Regal Dame. Radiant Beauty is very interesting because you don't know if Radiant Beauty's gotten better going longer or on the turf. Those first 2 dirt races, I get it, but the first one wasn't that bad as a young 2-year-old for a first start.
And she met a dual Grade 1 winner, separation of powers for second start. She also had blinkers that day. They've never used them any other race. I think her first race is good enough to make a contender, especially for a debut 2-year-old. I think the 3 Radiant Beauty is she's the wild card in here.
There's plenty of money coming in for number 9, Muchacha Uno, and it hasn't stopped yet as we get closer to the beginning of the post-parade. Comes off a resounding victory, off a little bit of a break. What are your thoughts, Andy?
I picked this horse. Now, she won't be favored, and I wouldn't bet her as the favorite. The feeling with her is very clear. If you look at her form before she was claimed by Jorge Abreu, who's been on fire, and Mike Dubb, the owner, she ran a turf race and it was just as fast on speed figures as her dirt races. Then she improves dramatically off a 4-month layoff for New Connections. Was it necessarily the turf? Maybe it's just she's an improved horse. Yeah. And if she improves in the dirt from that figure and can run a figure in the mid-70s, a buyer figure on the dirt, she could easily beat Hexameter here. I think she's one of the main danger of the favorite, Hexameter. Hexameter will be favored.
He's good on this move, Frank. He had a horse earlier, the Espresso Shot, that I wasn't in love with. I know Andy wasn't in love with, One Easy. And now this horse is moving from turf to dirt. And like Andy said, that one dirt race probably wins this race.
Let's go down to Maggie for the Hillendale Paddock Report. Hillendale, of course, the home of Curlin.
And guys, we see horses ready and set here in the paddock as we'll take a look at your current favorite. That is number 9, Muchacha Uno, whose dirt races, well, they're okay. She looks fine here in the paddock. She's not one that I necessarily loved last time either, even though she won and off the claim for Jorge Abreu, who seems to be firing on all cylinders right now. I'll be honest, I'm not in love with her switching from turf to dirt overall, looking at her physically, and I'm not just in love with her overall period. So we'll see. I actually like the longest price here in this field, just purely based upon physicality. One of 2 Rudy Rodriguez horses in the mix, and that's number 1, Annette. I wouldn't be surprised if Rudy can implore a little more speed out of this filly. She has that inside post position, which seems to be an advantageous place to be. She's sharp here in the paddock. She's big. She's good looking. I like what I'm seeing from her. And furthermore, while she is sharp, she's a little less nervous than what she was going back to her 2 Saratoga efforts, which I can't blame her. Saratoga's a tough place for horses if they don't handle it. So I think Annette going back to the dirt here is A-OK, Frank.
12-1 right now, so you get a very good price. In fact, currently the longest shot on the board, so that's a good opportunity for the bettors out there as we get set for the post parade. Again, this race will be run at a mile on the main track alongside Paul LaDuca and Andy Serling. I'm Frank Miramati. Larry Colmus is calling our races. Maggie Wolfendale is down in the paddock area. Andy, we're almost on the track.
I think these are fun races. I think the next 2 races are interesting, and I got eliminated in the pick 4, but I came back with some pick 3s here because I don't think that Hexameter has to win. And I think that the 3 we talked about, Radiant Beauty, has a chance as well. I think they may have given up on her on the dirt a little bit too quickly, and it happens a little bit around here because we run so many turf races that as long as the weather cooperates, which it usually does, we almost run 2 turf races for every 1 dirt race we run. So I think there are a lot of horses out there that have ability on the dirt, but their connections decide to run on the turf because there's so many more opportunities to run them, Paul. And I think that Radiant Beauty is a horse that could fall into that category.
You're right. You're right. She's probably couldn't find a race for her when she was a 2-year-old, so they ran her on the turf, and boom, wow, she ran a good 3rd. Let's keep her on there. Boom, she wired a field at Belmont, and her career has stayed there. Now it's, won another race. Now they run out of conditions. You got to find some other races. So what happens here, it gets taken off. Let's try her on the dirt and see what we got. You just never really know. Daughter of Orb, and it seems like the Orbs have liked the turf a tiny bit better than the dirt, but they've been able to do a little bit of both.
She showed some ability in that debut effort, so it's not like she's unfamiliar, and the good news is it happened right here.
No, I think she fits well, and she's a bit of a price near. The money that I don't get is the money for Regal Dame, unless you're just thinking she's going to be the speed, but maybe she'll improve off the claim by Marcus Vitale. But she better, because her dirt win will get her nothing in this field.
Claimed in back-to-back starts. So, and Marcus, of course, does a tremendous job. Most of his stuff is down in South Florida, but he can unleash him from time to time. Let's kick off the post parade with the one Akineta. 2 for 12 lifetime.
She's never run a dirt race that makes her competitive, but if you like her and she's a price, she's first time on the dirt for Rudy Rodriguez.
Here is the aforementioned Regal Dame taking solid action, Paul, at 3 to 1.
Well, I guess she might be the horse to catch. She's shown some pretty fast fractions, and if they let her load on the lead, she can get dangerous.
Radiant Beauty for Rudy Rodriguez is next.
As we talked about before, she could be a sneaky player in here, and she has early speed with IRAD.
Number 6, Classic Lady, a daughter of Jimmy Creed, who almost pulled off a shocking upset at the Spa.
You know, this horse at 7 to 1 is not a stretch. Her first race, she got green early, and then she made up a little ground. And then last time, she outran her odds at 76 to 1. 7 to 1 is not bad. She might run well today.
Hexameter is 9 to 5 from an 8 to 5 morning line currently, so she's right where she's supposed to be.
Well, she's the best dirt horse in this race, has the best consistent form as an MTO, and she's the horse to beat.
I thought she was willing, even though it was a distant third, she was trying at the end of that last race.
She ran okay last time. There were better horses. Her race 2 back, which went at 3 to 5, was okay.
Muchacha Uno, a daughter of Macho Uno. You remember who he beat in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile?
Point given.
Good man. Tell me more.
At Woodbine.
No,
I
at
think this
Churchill.
horse is
But it was
interesting,
close.
as we said beforehand. I think this horse has improved off the claim for the new connections and could transfer that improvement to the dirt and win this race.
If it was Jeopardy, you'd get credit. It was at Churchill, but it was point given by a nostrum. We're going to take a timeout.
You're right.
When we come back, it's race number 7 at Belmont Park.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. You are checking out the van that takes the horses back and forth to the racetrack with American Pharoah on board. And horses are warming up out on the track for this off-the-turf event in race number 7. And Rudy Rodriguez, trainer of number 1 Aconite, as well as number 3 Radiant Beauty. I got to speak to him just a few moments ago and asked, well, what do you think about Radiant Beauty switching back to the dirt where she ran her first 2 career races? And he always thought that she had some ability on this surface. Now, maybe it was a question of the distance, that actually she gets a bit more distance as opposed to the 6 furlongs. And he was even apt to run her going the 1 1/8 up at Saratoga when a race before had gotten rain off the turf, going a 1 1/16. The owner didn't want to that day, understandably, but he said, why not take a shot here with Radiant Beauty? And, you know, the 7 Aconetta, he felt as though this was probably a fairly tough spot for her, though that she was training well heading into this, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Every time I see those Peachtree stable sucks, I can't help but think of Plum Pretty. Let's talk about the 2 favorites, Andy. Hexameter, we've talked about her. She's looking for career win number 3, but she is the second choice.
I'm going to tell you, I know that they're going to the gate. She's 2-1, the 9 is 3-2. She will be the favorite by the time the betting is done. You know, she's okay. What she has is proven races on the dirt. Anybody else that we talk about here, Paul, we're saying we think this horse might be able to do this on the dirt, but there's no solid ground to stand on. The 7 stands on reasonably solid ground.
Yeah, that's true. The 9 has the lone race that's close enough on the dirt at the distance, besides maybe nobody else, maybe the 1.
About $5,000 between these 2 right now in the final stages.
Won't even be close.
And right on that note, boom, 8-5, 9-5 as they
won't be close
to a start. Let's head it up to the voice of the Triple Crown as well as the Breeders' Cup, Larry Comas.
Last couple to move into the starting gate here. Hexameter taking her spot in line will be followed by Muchacha Uno, who's coming up to the outside stall at odds of 6-5 right now. And they're all in line. It's getting them settled down. They're off. Classic Lady stumbled a bit coming out of there. Hexameter had the best beginning and goes out to the front. On the outside, Muchacha Uno and Aconetta will join them from the rail to make these 3 the pace setters up the backstretch. And then it's Classic Lady on the outside of Regal Dame, who's 5th early on and 4 lengths off the lead. It's another 4 lengths back to the trailer, Radiant Beauty, as they head up the backstretch in pursuit of Hexameter and Muchacha Uno. And they're a half length apart through a 23.37 opening quarter mile. Aconetta is 3rd. 3 lengths from the front as they continue up the backstretch. And then it's Classic Lady, Regal Dame on the inside, and Radiant Beauty continues to trail the field, about 7 lengths off the lead, moving for the far turn. It is Hexameter still the leader. Muchacha Uno second on the outside, 46.27 was the half mile. Aconetta tracks the top 2 and 3rd, and Radiant Beauty has made progress now and continues to do so while 4 wide on the far turn. Getting involved now with a 4 wide run is Radiant Beauty. The others have work to do, and they're coming to the top of the stretch. And a new leader emerges here as Aconetta goes by. Radiant Beauty goes right with her. They're 1-2. Hexameter cuts the corner, tries to hang in there. Muchacha Uno is back running in 4th. They're into the stretch, and it's Aconetta. Aconetta off the turn in front, but coming right back is Hexameter on the inside, and then comes Radiant Beauty, who's back running in 3rd, now drifting to the rail. Aconetta is in front, and Hexameter is now 2nd on the outside, but it is Aconetta. Aconetta comes down to the wire, 3.5 lengths in front of Hexameter. Then came Radiant Beauty, and Muchacha Uno was 4th.
You could take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If you listen to Maggie Wolfendale, you're cashing in at odds of 10-1 as Aconetta puts in a powerful kick and blows the field away 1-7-3-9 across the board.
Yeah, this horse ran. I mean, she got the nice trip behind the leaders, but she moved out in the turn, and disappointing efforts from both the 2 favorites in this race. There will be an inquiry. I guess we'll have to see the head-on to see if, in fact, the 7 was clear. The 1 was clear of the 7 when she clearly cut over into her path mid-stretch, but maybe she was clear.
Yeah, and wow, she really did go away from this group at 10-1, and great call, yeah, by Maggie. You can see it's the one Louis Reyes left-handed urging really didn't need to go do this.
She did do that.
the 7 really didn't make up any ground, so I don't think it changes his positions here. But you just don't want to have any dangerous riding. So hopefully there was nothing there.
The interesting thing is, you can't, this doesn't come play in an inquiry, is that the rail is the place to be today. We've seen rail runners do very, very well all day long. Well, the 1 was on the rail, the 7 was on the rail, and the 1 was out in the middle of the track, and by cutting over, got to the better part of the track and took the 7 off that better position. Now, she probably was clear, and it probably won't matter, or maybe there won't even be an inquiry, but she did cut over in front of her. Maybe she was clear.
Rudy Rodriguez, one of the strongest percentages off the claim in the entire country, does it again here.
Not on the turf, though, and this horse was entered for turf. That's what's odd about it.
With Annette. Well, he got lucky, and so did all of the backers. 1-7-3-9. Rudy finishes first and third. The puzzling performance came from Muchacha Uno, who was right outside of Hexameter early and just had nothing in the final.
She ended up favored. I was wrong. I mean, surprising. She got favored. You rarely see it when they're not favored. Money came in. I guess they think that Jorge Abreu can do no wrong. Well, she did not improve in the dirt, something that Maggie suggested she didn't think she would. And there is an inquiry, as there should be.
Stewart's inquiry. And it will concern the first 2 finishers, Annette and Hexameter, and also the objection sign. Here is a look at what we saw live moments ago. Annette making the winning move under left-handed urging here will eventually just go right in front of number 7, Hexameter. I think the backers of number 1, Annette, Andy, are very much relieved that Hexameter held second clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a disqualification here. I think your initial thought, Frank, you said to me you thought she was clear. She probably was. Javier didn't do any kind of acting here. These guys they need to take lessons from Richard Migliore. Nobody could act like the MIG. The MIG could have sold this one. He'd have steadied.
Maybe not everyone wants to act all the time.
Yeah, I disagree. I think you're a jockey. You act a little bit more, you get put up.
How about was it the third baseman or first baseman? It was the third baseman the other day that faked the catching of a ball.
I'm sure my man Paul LeDuc had a few tricks. He was playing Major League Baseball to get put up.
But here, the point is when you keep watching the head-on here, that Javier Castellano never really has to stop riding his horse. He maybe for a quarter of a second, but he just gets outside and starts going again. And then Hexameter just never makes up any more ground after that. So
no, I agree. If she came running at her again, it did take her off the best part of the racetrack, and I think in that way it gave it the 7 an unfair advantage she shouldn't have had. But I don't think that's the kind of thing that can come into play when the stewards are trying to look at it at an inquiry.
I think Mr. Reyes is very fortunate he was utilizing his left-handed stick, because there are times, even though the whole thing has changed with inquiries and did it affect the placing, there are times when there's an egregious foul and you know the horse would have won anyway, that they still come down. I do not think this is one of those circumstances, but if this guy was going right-handed and it was a little more, even though she won off, anything could happen.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question. If the 3 passes the 7, does the 1 come down?
If I was a steward, absolutely not, but I can understand how that could happen.
I would like this to come down, I think, as would Paul for his pick 4, but I don't think there should be a change.
Coming down. No.
I don't think it will, and I don't think there should.
And Annette was by far the best. She was the best in here by far.
She made that move coming toward the top of the stretch. You're like, wow, look at her. So she was live and ready to go, and Maggie, once again, great job catching up with Rudy. Those are the things we need. We've got to help the fans out there. It's not an easy
Rudy
game.
liked the 3. Maggie liked the 1, right?
Right. Maggie knows what she's looking at. All right, we will await the verdict from the steward's stand.
That's Rudy's brother.
There we go. We're taking a look. I don't see any sweat beads on anyone's. That was Rudy's brother, I guess. I guess, and that is being confirmed.
Yes.
His assistant.
Everybody's waiting as the judges of our sport. Or the
I'll go to Marv Albert. Mitch Levitas with the very important,
Rudy's brother Gus.
Pertinent information. Gus Rodriguez standing by, forehead sweating. We are live, and it is going to be a very brief look. No change, folks.
Right call.
1-7. 3-9. Hey, look, we're on MSG. I mean, how many years did Marv spend on MSG?
Way too many.
Frankie's still on MSG.
He still is.
Beautiful. So, is he still doing all the games?
Yeah.
Love.
He's still alive, and he's still on MSG. Yeah.
No, he's not.
Thanks,
not?
anyway.
It's Mike Breen, yeah.
Oh.
Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah. He never does the games?
Come on, man.
That's right. I stopped watching the Knicks.
Breen and Clyde.
I got a great letter from Marv Albert. I will have that framed soon.
Really?
From 20 years ago. It's outstanding. We're going to take a timeout as we look at Annette patting Rudy Rodriguez stats off the claim. A $22 winner. When we come back, we'll tell you more.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We had to sweat it out a little bit, but Annette, the eventual official winner of this 7th race here on Belmont Park Live, and joined by her conditioner, Rudy Rodriguez. And Rudy, 1st and 3rd here, we did have to sweat it out a little bit. Luis Reyes kind of obviously understanding the track and going over to the best part, but he did it pretty dramatically, so stewards had to take a look.
Yeah, like you say, they got to take a look. You know, I think he was clear. Javier kind of intimidated a little bit, even though he was already big, but, you know, he took a chance, and thank God to deliver us up.
And kudos to your owner, Ben Mondello, wanting to stay in this race, saying that Annette, she was competitive when this race came off the turf.
You know, Ben called me this morning and tell me the chief feel good in this group in the door, so I said, you like him, we do it, you know. And she did good.
Unfortunate start for Radiant Beauty, though, kind of stumbling out of the gate.
She stumbled pretty good, though, but I don't know. I think I was hoping that maybe Ira should stay in the real and give him a nice shot. But, you know, I'm not on top, so they made the decision, and they on top of them, so hopefully he listened to this.
You are in the morning, and you once were before, Rudy. Obviously, you have several different perspectives when it comes to training horses, but congrats, you're 1st and 3rd. I'm sure you'll take it.
Thank you. We do.
All right, guys. Rudy Rodriguez, always fun to catch up with.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Congrats to Rudy, and some nice payoffs here coming your way. $22 even on Annette, and the exacta $31.75. 50-cent try pays $74.62.
Congratulations, filly by Annette out of the Barkerville mare, Bebe. Now 3 for 13 lifetime. You know what? The 3 Radiant Beauty, wow, she really did stumble to her face. She ran a giant 3rd there.
Yeah, could have been different if she hadn't stumbled.
Here is the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along. You want to get an opportunity to play along, you can do so at NairaBets.com. Wherever you are in the country, just go to NairaBets.com and sign up now. Today's pool, $44,000 and change. And Paul, this is not an easy sequence.
No, it isn't. $1,000 pick 3 to start. So if you're alive, you just need to get it home. For now, it doesn't matter what the prices are.
Los Alamitos, they have their thoroughbred season underway right now, and California racing has shifted to Los Al. And with that, you have an opportunity to play the early pick 4 on Naira Bets and get a 20% winner's bonus every day throughout the meet. Los Al races Friday through Sunday through the 23rd of September. Please go to NairaBets.com for details. Look, you get a one that, especially if one's chalky, you get an extra 20% on top of it. It's not so chalky anymore.
By the way, you keep reading promos of where you called races from.
I'm supposed to, right? And they're off in Naira bets.
He's called races everywhere.
All right. Welcome to the set here at Belmont Park. And guys, one of the most eagerly awaited, there's a look at our Triple Crown winners. I think I'm going to introduce Larry Colmus next time. He's the only guy to call a Triple Crown in the last 40 years. He's done it twice. Andy Serling, Paul LaDuca. Let's face it, the Keeneland September sale, guys, is what it's all about. There were so many millions being thrown around for some beautifully bred runners. And good news is Claiborne Farms certainly had the champagne out. A lot of celebration. Hillendale Farms, Curlin also did very well, and so did several others. The usual suspects were in play. Congratulations to the buyers and the sellers. Here is a look at HIP 211. And this would be a colt by Curlin out of a mare named Molly Morgan that went for $1.8 million. That's good news for Team Hillendale.
I love seeing good horses turn out to be good sires, you know, and as you know, with horses like Curlin and Medagliadoro, and even Warfront as well, who's a good horse, he's been a much better sire as well. But I like to see that. American Pharoah, of course, unproven.
Medagliadoro, a monster stallion, and this one out of the mare named Exotic Bloom. Beautiful individual. Obviously, you don't get $2.1 million unless you are. Congratulations to Phoenix Thoroughbreds. HIP 91. How about American Pharoah?
Wow.
You know, he has come out with some amazing prices thus far. This one out of the mare Kindle goes $2.2 million to Godolphin. There were some great bidding wars along the way during this Keeneland September sale.
Yeah. Godolphin reached into their ashtray and spent plenty of money.
Who brings you this show? Claiborne Farm, and that's why they bring you the sale topper. Yeah. $2.4 million for this son of Warfront out of the mare Streaming.
He's a tremendous sire, and he had a huge sale to Warfront. So he's just, I mean, at this point, he started to look like a bargain at $250,000. It's just, I mean, his horses are delivering on the racetrack, and they're delivering the sales ring.
Yeah, I love the 4 white cleats he's got wearing.
There were several Warfronts that went for huge money. We had one for $1.75 million, a filly for $1.2 million, another one for $1.2 million. It was a colt. One out of Tiffany's Honor for $1.1.
Well, when you're winning here in Europe, you know, like he is.
Yeah, the $1.2 million is by the mare Pinup, if I'm not mistaken, who was a race mare. So, wow, $14 million in gross of the 18 horses that were sold. So, Warfront. Yeah, he's sticking that tongue out like Michael Jordan.
He's the man. He knows he's the man, too. Let's take a look at Warfront. Andy, you had a chance to watch Warfront up close and personal.
I love Warfront as a horse. I'm still bitter about a loss. I think he took here maybe the Tom Fool. There was a race he lost to the Breeders' Cup Sprint winner that year, but he was a wonderful horse. And of course, Alan Jerkins trained him. But as good as he was in the racetrack, he's been a better stallion.
Yeah, he really has.
It makes you wonder, had he run in the grass, what he could have done, because he's been a very good dirt sire, but also in the turf as well.
And, you know, earlier this year, I think at Saratoga, we had a chance to catch up with Walker Hancock, and he was talking about Lee and how high they were on Lee. Well, how about this? $650,000 for this one out of the mare Terrific Treasure.
And he really does have a chance to be a terrific stallion. I think he's a horse that may not be on a lot of people's radars. He started his career running in turf races, and Al Stahl trained him. He first tried the dirt out with him in the Forgo in Saratoga, and it rained, and he didn't handle the mud. But then Belmont ended up taking over him. I think he won maybe the Harlan's Holiday or whatever, the Hal's Hope or one of those races of prep, and then he won the Grade 1 Don, which is, of course, now the Pegasus. He ran second in over in Dubai. I believe California Chrome. Was he second to him, or was he second to somebody else beat him?
I don't know.
But he was second over in Dubai. He was a terrific racehorse, and he could run well on the turf and the dirt. I mean, he was a very good turf horse to start. Better on the dirt ultimately, but he's exactly the kind of horse you probably want to breed to, because his horses should be able to handle any kind of surface.
Claiborne Farm, they're rolling. We're proud to have them as our sponsor.
Yes,
as a matter of fact, at this sale, they did the usual unusually well.
That's true.
That's just,
I love Claiborne. The greatest farm. I've loved gone there many times.
And
a great
guess what?
place.
Unless you're a potentially great stallion, you're not allowed in. And
how did I get in?
That's what makes us happy. That the Great Run Happy is there now. We'll be right back.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy Flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Soft gonna turn to the length of the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm, doing the usual, unusually well. It is time for the 8th and featured event, and you are looking at Pause for the Cause, who was entered for main track only and is vying for favoritism, as expected, right on David Aragona's morning line of 9 to 5.
You know, this is a very different race for Pause for the Cause than last time out, because she not only has to deal with speed inside of her in the 4 Royal Inheritance, she's got to deal with speed outside of her in Noble Freud. This is a much more competitive dirt race than the one she ran last time. Not that she can't win. This is a tough race.
Jose Ortiz picks up the mount in here with the late entry due to the fact that this race off the turf. This was a resounding victory, but
she beat Tough Old Bird,
exactly,
who's basically a bottom-level claimer. And I'm not sure the 7 Noble Freud, arguably, why is she been running on the turf? Maybe she's a better dirt horse. Maybe the turf race will be easier.
Here's an interesting angle. How about this? Pause for the Cause by Giants Causeway, Noble Freud by Freud. Giants Causeway and Freud are full brothers. Let's go to Maggie for more.
And 2 of my favorite sires, that's for sure, Frank, as we'll check in with one, though, by Wilburn, go figure, and that's a rail runner in, Wilburn Money, who returns off of a long layoff. And while she looks fit in the lean kind of department, and that she's not carrying any excess weight, seen her look better, seen her look a bit stronger, especially behind the saddle. I don't know. When she was running back in April, she looked way better than what she does here. And once again, she has another layoff. Moving on to number 7, Noble Freud, who has run faster and better races, in my opinion, on the main track. But in regards to her and why she's been on the turf, as I've always said, the turf is a bit more of a forgiving surface. And with her pedigree in consideration, why did she not sell for that much? Only $30,000. Well, it might be because of some issues, and so because the turf is a little more forgiving on those issues, maybe that's why she spent her time on it. But I can't deny those races in which she did run very well during the springtime here in New York, and she looks great. And she's second off of a layoff, so we'll see how she warms up here for trainer Chad Brown. Guys.
Thank you very much, Maggie. So she mentioned that Noble Freud only sold for $30,000. Rest assured, she sold for a whole lot more than $30,000 after her debut, which was a family fair. Jinx Fires and John Cord teamed up at Oakland.
Yeah, that was a very clever move by those connections, getting her on that big race first time out and then getting somebody to buy her. And Maggie makes a good point. She's a half or full to 3 tremendous runners, including La Verdad, as well as Hot City Girl. And there's even one other. They were all good, and these were all horses that were owned by Sheila Rosenblum. undoubtedly Linda Rice and Sheila Blosbloom were participating in the sale where she sold for $30,000, and they didn't buy her because she's probably fairly crooked or something. There's probably something on with her. Having said that, she's run okay for Chad Brown. I mean, I know it's a sloppy track, but that race in the Bowery a year ago May, that would make her very tough in here.
She is right now at 8-5. No, yeah, 8-5.
Yeah.
8-5 right now. We're getting ready for our post parade. We welcome those of you who are just joining us as we call the horses onto the track for today's 8th race. It's the start of the late daily double, and like race number 7, this one was taken off of the turf. Scratch numbers 3 and 5 out of here, and there's some money coming in for the Michael Stidham trained Summer Sweet on the outside, who has already run 19 races, so she's certainly the most experienced. We kick off the post parade with number 1, Will Burn Money. I know, Andy, you've never burned any money, but you remember the sire Wilburn.
No, I like Wilburn Money in this spot. She's actually got dirt races to make her very competitive, and of the horses that could take advantage of a quick pace, she might be the best one.
She is fresh. Here's number 2, Miss Mystique, for Leah Jarmati, who got up last time out to beat Stone Factor.
Yeah, she did, and it was only 3.5 to 1 on an off-the-turf event that was very, very weak that day. This is much tougher here.
Here is the 4, and that's Royal Inheritance, who comes in off the claim.
This horse has got some decent dirt races, but this horse has got to deal with the 6 Paws for the Cause from the get-go. We'll show some early speed, though.
And with that, that's the Kieran McLaughlin trained Paws for the Cause. Great meet at Saratoga, as is usually the case for Kieran, and he'll try to pick up another W right here for Chester and Mary Broman. They bred this daughter of Giants Causeway.
Yeah, one of the 2 3-year-old fillies in here, and a lot of people like to play 3-year-old fillies this time of year, and maybe she can outrun the 4 early.
Here is the 7, Noble Freud. And she has run 7 times thus far, Andy.
She's probably the most talented dirt horse in her best races, but she's never shown the ability to rate. With the presence of Royal Inheritance and Paws for the Cause, she may have a tough time clearing the lead.
And completing the field is number 8, Summer Sweet, in the familiar silks of Virginia Craft Payson for Michael Stidham.
She's a filly that sort of runs the same race each time. Now, if the 6, the 7, the 4, they all go at each other, look for her late.
Maggie Wolfendale is standing by with the trainer of the current second choice. That's Paws for the Cause, Kieran McLaughlin.
And pleasure to join here with Kieran, as you were saying, Frank. And Paws for the Cause, Kieran, she comes off the back of a win in an off-the-turf event as well up at Saratoga. Do you feel as though she is a filly that is more suited to the main track here?
Yes, I do. And we did a Llewellyn on her little procedure before the last race, and it was huge. And that day it was sunny and fast and didn't rain, and today again sunny and fast. So she's doing very well on the dirt. We'll probably leave her on the dirt.
And Kieran, you just got back in from the Keeneland sales where Godolphin and Shadwell were very present, 2 of your major clients. What can you say? I mean, Godolphin spent a lot of money to probably send horses to Europe. Is that true?
Yes, most Warfronts and Medaglia do well in America too, but a lot of them would go to Europe, and Shadwell bought quite a few for Europe too. But the main point was Sheikh Mohammed hadn't been there in quite a few years. Right. He was very excited, and he spent a lot of money and had fun picking them out. Sheikh Hamdan comes almost every year, but it was great to see both of them there, and Princess Haya was there too for 2 days. So it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get to train some of the horses.
How involved is Sheikh Mohammed in actually looking at the horses at the barns?
Yeah, he goes back and looks at them all, and so does Sheikh Hamdan, and neither one will probably buy one without seeing them, or let their team buy them very often. Sometimes they will, but they want to see them all, and they really have a good time.
Well, it'd be really exciting to see them in your barn as well in the years to come.
Yes, that would be great.
Well, Kieran, best of luck here with Paws for the Cause as well.
Thank you very much.
All right, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. I got a question for you, Andy. Do you think Sheikh Mohammed pays attention to your rail bias commentary before races?
Oh, we text quite often, Sheikh and I. I loved when he used to come, when he first bought Fasig-Tipton, and he would come to Saratoga in the summer. And it was fascinating. He was, I think, the first 2 sales when he bought it, seeing him there, just hanging out on the ground floor, bidding and watching on TV, and it was pretty cool. I mean,
he loves the game so much.
Great.
He really does, and has done so much for it. And it's great to have these beautifully bred runners. I was thinking when Maggie was talking to Kieran, what he's thinking. He's just saying, please send them here. Please send them here. That's all he wants. I mean, but here's the thing. He continues, Kieran does, to answer the bell for them. And that's what you have to do. Well, when you do it, boom, they keep coming.
Is it endorsed? That's the 2-year-old, the
nice
dance card.
horse.
The dance card horse. That horse could well be the favorite in the Champagne when you deliver in a big way with homebreds. And that's a homebred. And that dam, that's the brood, the dam. Godolphin raced her. They didn't buy her.
Yeah, true.
And you're going to get the good horses when you deliver like that.
Listen, you're paying that kind of millions of dollars. We're at the point now where if you're paying $2 million, $2.2 million, do you really want your horse to race here in America compared to Europe?
I think it depends.
The money over in
turf
Europe.
or dirt. It's turf or dirt. It's just,
I understand that, but what I'm saying is the prestige they want is they want their horses over there, or
they want the Derby.
They want their Derby. That's what they do want.
Here's a look at number 8, Summer Sweet, trained by Michael Stidham. Michael Stidham's career continues to flourish, and he is now building divisions all over the country. Arlington is what you think about, right? But now he's over at Delaware. He had a great meet at Monmouth. He's here in New York, Kentucky, and he's starting to get the big owners coming in.
And you know, when he started out, he was one of these trainers that would ship to New York and just never win. But lately, that has not been the case. He's had a very good year.
He has some Godolphin horses himself, and as well as Pin Oak. And once you start getting those horses and you start winning for those people, it's just a matter of time when you're going to develop the one that turns into the superstar. But if you look at his list of owners, over the last 5-6 years, they've really started to change to the top of the class. And that's an opportunity. And you know what? He's a guy who has earned it because he continues to win at a high percentage regardless of where he places his horses.
That's true. And he can win in all facets, long on the turf, short on the dirt. And this horse in Summer Sweet is going to hope that they go fast up front so that she can show her late kick in here. Now, her 2 dirt starts, she had 4 dirt starts, a win and 2/3. So not bad dirt form at all, and that's why she's your 3rd choice.
She's kind of the outside closer in a race packed with speed, which never seems to work out. You know, I think she has a chance to win. I'm not saying she can't. I just happen to prefer the one. If I'm going to take a closer, I'm going to take the one Wilburn Money.
Tell me a little bit more about Wilburn Money.
Well, we're looking at Pause for the Cause, the favorite. If you want to go to the one Wilburn Money, I would like to talk about Wilburn Money, if you guys don't mind for a second. You know, you look at her race 2 back off the layoff, easily good enough to win here, especially given that she could get pace to run into. Something obviously went wrong last time. She hasn't run in 4.5 months. Now, she is a horse that has some gaps in her starts, but you go through her races. I mean, this horse really improved for Gary Gullo in the winter of 2017. The toughest thing is keeping her on the racetrack, and she's running. It's an optional claiming race for the tag in this race, and there may be some holes, and that's a bit of a concern. But her current odds is 7-1. I'm willing to gamble that she's going to show up and run well today, and anybody that listens to me knows I have the utmost respect for Gary Gullo, the trainer. I think he does a sensational job, and I think this is a race that could fall apart a little bit late, and I'm hoping she can take advantage of it, and she's got the right post in the rail. I hope Dylan Davis takes advantage of that as well.
7-1. Let's talk to Maggie for a brief moment with a comment on Pause for the Cause. Maggie, what's up?
Frank, I took this horse, at 8-5, but what Kieran said was interesting in regards to the Llewellyn, which is a tie-back surgery, which basically you're creating a bigger airway for a horse to get more oxygen into their lungs, and a lot of times that will make them also more forward in their training, or just more into it, if you will. And honestly, she looks more fit than I've ever seen her in her life. Now, Kieran, off camera said, well, maybe she does react to that number a bit, or maybe she actually moves forward because it has helped her so much. And I can say that it is evident in her physicality as well. So 7-5, holding strong as the favorite, Frank.
Thank you very much. We are set to load into the gate. The top 2, as we expected, are dominating the wagering. Pause for the Cause at 7-5. Noble Freud knocking right on the door at 8-5, and then it's up to 4-1 for the 3rd choice, Summer Sweet. Paul, your final thoughts?
Well, I like the 6, but the only way these 2 horses beat or win is, or they don't beat each other, because if they get into speed duels, then somebody else wins this race. But I like the 6.
Andy, I know you like the 1. What are your backup plans?
No, I'm not going to be surprised by any of the horses like the 6, 7, or 8. I'm not a huge fan of the 8, but she's not impossible. I think the 6 is a bit of a dubious favorite, but the 7 can't win so far. Has never shown a win without the lead. I'm going to bet a few dollars on the 1 Wilburn Money and hope she runs her good race. If she does, she can win at a price.
Last few left to load. The man who will describe the action in race number 8 is the voice of New York racing, Larry Colmus.
And the last couple are moving into line now as Noble Freud comes up to the starting gate. 8-5. 2nd choice right now to Pause for the Cause, who's at 6-5. And here's Summer Sweet. to complete the line. Goes in. They're all in line. They're off. Noble Freud broke the best with Royal Inheritance away with some early speed, too. These two out to the front, then Pause for the Cause on the outside. Miss Mystique going up in between horses, and Wilburn Money on the inside. Summer Sweet is the trailer. Moving for the far turn, Royal Inheritance has grabbed the lead. Noble Freud is a neck back. And outside of them, it's Pause for the Cause, who's just perched outside the leaders. 22.96 the opening quarter mile. Summer Sweet and Miss Mystique are right behind them, and they're 3 lengths from the front. The trailer is Wilburn Money as they make their way around the turn. Royal Inheritance, Noble Freud, and Pause for the Cause across the track. 3.5 lengths back to Summer Sweet, Miss Mystique on the inside, and Wilburn Money. They've run a half in 45.58 seconds, and they're into the stretch. And Pause for the Cause runs for the lead on the outside. Noble Freud and Royal Inheritance head and head behind her, but she's pulling away now. Pause for the Cause by 3. And then comes Royal Inheritance on the inside of Noble Freud. Pause for the Cause and Jose Ortiz clear as they come down to the line. They win in hand by about 5 lengths in the end. And then it was Royal Inheritance followed by Noble Freud and Miss Mystique.
In the words of the great Larry Letterman, if it was a fight, they'd have stopped it. Pause for the Cause, a winner every step of the way. 6-4-7-2, 2 for Jose Ortiz.
Yeah, 109 and change stops the clock. And Andy's right, the 7 needs the lead because ran around the circle. Didn't even pass your second place finisher in here, who set the early fractions at here, the 4 Royal Inheritance.
Yeah, one horse ran and nobody else ran in here. I'd love to watch the head on the early stages of the way as Miss Mystique got into Wilburn Money's way in the backstretch. Not sure it went on, but I doubt it mattered. This was a one-horse race. 6-5, plus for the Cause made it look like an overlay.
Daughter of Giants Causeway wins for the 2nd consecutive time. And Jose Ortiz having another fine day. That was one of his easiest assignments. Just hold on and let's take a look at the start.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Wilburn Money was obviously wasn't going to win this race. And who knows? She was virtually eased in here. As you watch, you see that the 2-horse Miss Mystique comes out a bit at the start and bumps. The 1 Wilburn Money has an inside position, and we watching the pan. I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't know if she crowded her. She kind of crowds a little bit right there, and maybe Dylan just felt like he had to get out of that spot. And it's a tough point when you hit that break in the turn. Doubt it made any difference, but things did get a bit tight.
Here's a look at the resounding winner of our feature, Pause for the Cause. That's her 3rd career victory. And wow, was that an easy one. We'll take a timeout, and when we return, we'll get the prices, catch up with the winning connections, owners and breeders, Chester and Mary Broman. Celebrate here on Belmont Park Live.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
You're watching Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. And Pause for the Cause victorious 2 in a row for this young filly owned by the Bromans and trained by this man to my right. And Karen McLaughlin, as you had mentioned pre-race, the Llewellyn really helped this filly out. And boy, down the backside, you couldn't ask Jose Ortiz to look more confident than what he did.
Yeah, it's a setup just like we thought on paper, and it's nice that she got a clean face, because I think a clean face helps with any breathing issues.
And also, you debuted a pretty impressive first-time starter up at Saratoga and indoors, who got up in the shadow of the wire. Obviously, more distance very well is in his future as he's pointing towards a Champagne.
Yes, he is. And we'll probably bring him down here. He's been trained at Green Tree, but we might bring him down here for at least one work, if not 2 works. Doing very well.
And he's probably going to be the favorite. Do you always feel a little bit of pressure with these young horses who only have 1 race?
Yeah, for sure, but usually ours improve, and he's very talented and so well-bred. By Medaglia out of Dance Card, who we won a Grade 1 with, so it's a lot of fun to have a top horse.
Well, wishing you the best of luck. Congrats here, though, with Pause for the Cause.
Thank you very much.
All right, Frank, looks as though the Karen McLaughlin barn could be heating up at the right time.
Good for him. He does a fine job. It has to be so much more special when he actually trained the dam of this potential star in his barn. Let's take a look at the payoff. 6-5. The price for Pause for the Cause pays $440 to win. Pick 3 comes back $555.50.
Yeah, congratulations, Giants Cause with a touch gold mare Sprightly. Excuse me, 3 for 12 lifetime. That Grand Slam, $20.80, and you finally get a favorite.
Here is the Naira Bets late pick 5. Follow along, and $4.40. There were actually a couple of horses that will carry over in this Naira Bets late pick 5, but otherwise the payoffs are between $9,000 and $37,000 and change. So we say it time and time again. Go to NairaBets.com. Regardless of where you are today, come and sign up. There are bonuses to do so. NairaBets.com for that Naira Bets late pick 5, as well as wagering from all around the world. And all eyes here are coming in on Rogue Nation for Rudy Rodriguez. We saw him win off the claim an hour ago. He's going to try to do it again.
Well, this is a horse that got bet strongly in a relatively tough field up in Saratoga, and that was a dirt race, and had some legitimate trouble at the start. This horse slammed the brake. Claimed out of that race for Rudy Rodriguez. Now it's a similar situation to the 7th race, right? Enter for the turf. Rudy's got amazing numbers off the claim with dirt horses and maiden races. Amazing numbers.
3 to 5 numbers?
Believe it or not, he is. He's like well over 50%.
Wow, that's
with
great.
Crazy ROI.
We're in the early stages of wagering, and we're going to have some news about the Run Happy Travers winner when we come back.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag.
Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial.
Alice.
Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
And it's Catholic Boy. Catholic Boy. and it's Catholic Boy. Catholic Boy has taken the lead on the outside. Mendelssohn is full out toward the rail. It's 5 lengths back to Bravazzo, who's now third. Then Vino Rosso and King Zachary on the outside. They're coming down to the 16th pole. Catholic Boy is pulling away. He's so impressive today, the others didn't even have a prayer. Catholic Boy rolls in the run. Happy Travers.
The run Happy Travers to Catholic Boy. Great call, by the way, from Larry Colmus, and tremendous performance from Catholic Boy. It's not often they can do it on the dirt as well as the turf, Andy.
No, he's just a terrific racehorse. I'm sorry to see that he's not going to run again until the Breeders' Cup. I'd like to see him run one race. He's made only 5 starts. I know he's been a horse that sounds tough to keep on the racetrack, but we need horses to run more often. I'm a little disappointed by this.
And that news that he's talking about, Paul, is news that Dave Grenig of the Daily Racing Forum reported yesterday. The Catholic Boy will train right up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. We're in a day and age where fresh horses seems to be the theme. What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, the horse is obviously in peak condition, and Jonathan Thomas has just been phenomenal. He's turned out to be just a super trainer. He's winning races everywhere, so I'm not going to knock him till they send the horse to Churchill Downs, and I think the horse is going to be very, very dangerous. 3-year-olds usually run well in the Classic, but he's going to have to deal with some difficult horses.
He feels like a big price to me in there, and I'm a fan of his, and I think Jonathan Thomas does do a great job, but he's going to have to really step forward and hope he shows up, and hope some other horses don't.
Jonathan Thomas unleashed a maiden winner here today at Belmont Park, and a couple of days ago he had Osari winning at Kentucky Downs in the 5th Third Insurance Dueling Grounds Oaks.
Well, this is a half to Arrogate, and there are only 2 foals out of that dam. This is the second one. This sold for $300,000 at the Keeneland sale about 3 weeks after Arrogate's unbelievable performance in the Travers. Now, obviously, there are some issues with her, and that's why she sold so cheaply, but there are a lot of people that are saying to themselves right now, why didn't I just see the pedigree and buy her anyway? Because $300,000 feels like a gift. I mean, as a broodmare, she might be worth $3 million right now.
Yeah, that was a salty field. She was 10-1 on the morning line on that field, and she actually got bet down for Jonathan Thomas about 3 to 4 to 1 and won nicely. So that was not a chip shot field. So she might be facing some nice stakes company forward.
I wish I could bet the morning line at Kentucky Downs.
It's not available on your wagering menu. There are plenty of other options for you. You got win, play, show, pick 3, pick 4, Naira bets, pick 5. That'll keep you busy. And we're going to take care of some business here and take a quick timeout as we glance at the favorite right now, this gray son of Mission Impassable, Rogue Nation, will try to graduate in career start number 2. This is Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm, where the great Run Happy Eclipse Champion Sprinter is standing.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
Cabeza takes the lead, 200 meters to run, but here she comes, wings. Besaravaca takes the lead. 200 meters to run, but here she comes. Winks right down the outside, powering away from them. Invictus, Prince Dargetto and Kevin Tari. But how soft for Winks. There's 26 in a row for the champ. Wins the race named in her honor.
She's simply remarkable. All we see are weekly updates that Winks wins again. Most recently, she wins the Winks. How great is that? It's like Zenyatta winning the Zenyatta.
Like you calling the Frank Miramati purse.
Yes, that would be a very small purse, and it would be on a fair circuit, a half-mile oval, and they'd be
Maybe if they
drifting
reopened
wide.
Great Barrington, Frank.
I loved the Great Barrington. That was a fun time. That was like the third year of my
70s,
career.
I
It was 1998 and 97. We had a good time.
You got anybody for me to bet against Winks with tonight?
No. What you need to do is just go.
No, I want somebody.
Take the short price. It'll be 1:10 a.m., Andy. You'll be agonizing over replays for like probably next Thursday's card or next Friday's card or something. Wednesday, all right, whatever it is. You're way ahead.
Don't get
of yourself
carried away
at all times. But if you want to watch on the Naira Bets app, you can see Winks tonight, 1:10 a.m. So I guess it's tomorrow morning, 1:10 a.m. Eastern. I know there will be many of you logging on to your Naira Bets app to watch the amazing Winks.
Starting to run a little bit like Zenyatta, right?
She just keeps
comes from way out of the
You get
tube.
worried a little bit, and then
Yeah,
all of a
tiny
sudden
bit,
she shows up.
Yeah, I never get worried.
She's on her way. All right, we're going to have a pick six carryover, regardless of who wins. In fact, there are 3 horses that will only pay on 4 of 6. The 6, 8, and 10, you'll collect some money if you have 4 of 6. The others are 5 of 6. And then in the Naira Bets late pick 5, which I highly recommend you go to nairabets.com and open an account, you will see that the Naira Bets late pick 5 today, it'll carry if the 3 or 10 wins. Otherwise, you're looking at payoffs between $9,000 and $37,000 for your 50-cent investment today. NairaBets.com. It's time for another paddock report. Maggie, can you give us yet another winner?
Well, if I don't know about in this race here, Frank, I'm going to start with another Rudy Rodriguez horse. Who is your current favorite in number 1, Rogue Nation? First off the claim, only making his second start, and I like what I see from this runner, especially second time out here. He's 10 times more professional, certainly has his mind more in the game than what he did at first asking up at Saratoga. He looks stronger, he looks fitter. Now, once again, he's entered in a sprint. Nothing about this horse physically says that he's a sprinter. He is by Mission Impossible, which is a fine influence for sprints, but touch gold on the bottom. He's just very long, very lanky, and it feels as though he needs more ground to cover. But on the flip side of that, Rudy can put a little more speed into his horses, but then again, it's not like he claimed him from a guy who can't get one to win first time out and can't get speed from his horses in Charlie Baker. So I don't know. He looks fine here. I just still wonder if he's actually a sprinter, as we'll check in with number 8. That is Shuffling Madness, another one that goes first off the claim, who is now a gelding here by Bruce Brown. And it's been less than a month, though. And sometimes when horses come back from geldings in this short amount of time, it really hasn't taken hold. And it's pretty evident it hasn't taken hold. This horse hasn't lightened up at all. He's still pretty heavy-bodied, and he's still kind of on his nerves. He's still a little bit, rambunctious here. So I don't know if it's going to make that much of an influence here at first asking. Maybe we'll look for him next time, Frank, as a second-time gelding.
Thank you very much, Maggie. She almost sounded sad that the way she said that he turned into a gelding, poor guy, after his August 17th effort. Did number 8, Shuffling Madness, who is on the board right now at 4-1. By the way, before these horses go into the post-race, you mind if I give a quick shout-out to some great handicapping at Saratoga by Mike Beer of the Daily Racing Forum, day in and day out, coming through for the fans.
The best, Mike Beer. Mike Beer does a sensational job. I love when I used to do the show with him. I wish he was still on more often, to be honest with you. I think he did a terrific job, and I always like Mike because he's a smart guy, works very hard, and he and I disagree quite often, and I find his reasoning to be very, very sound. And you want to listen to a handicapper, whether he ends up being right or wrong, who has interesting thoughts that make some kind of sense, and Mike Beer is as good as anybody.
In maiden races, he's come with some first-time starters.
He's good, he's just, to me...
But those maiden races are particularly... You got to do a lot of digging to find some of that research, some of the pedigree research. He had a Generazio winner last year that was like 20-1 in the last, Treasure Beach.
Yeah, firsters are a little bit of guessing, though, to be honest with you, as a public handicapper.
Some good guesses because the sibling of that.
But Mike's spot on as a guy in general, as a handicapper. Yes. He's terrific.
All right, we're getting ready for a post parade here. There is a look at number 13, and that would be Back of the Watch, trained by, let's face it, a legend, Tom Morley.
We'll see if he can clear. He's obviously got speed, and that's going to be their intention. I mean, he showed speed in the turf. Show it here.
Louis Race looking for a double.
Many years ago, Trevor Denman told me that the relationship between horse and human is so close, and that is one of the reasons why oftentimes you'll see the winning jockey from the feature race win the next race. Now, a jockey can't make a slow horse fast, but when that positive energy and momentum is carried...
This sounds like
they feel
nonsense to me.
Well, guess what? I got news for you. Trevor Denman has forgotten more about this game than most people will ever know.
That just sounds like just the kind of nonsense that I spend my entire life fighting against the racetrack.
Keep fighting.
For old wives' tales.
You would love the guys that Del Mar
Nonsense.
that play against the tide, speed. and all
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff.
you know, I'd love that, Paul. I'd be great with that.
So are you trying to tell me you don't think that there's any sort of...
I think there's no correlation whatsoever. I think it's like people that don't like $2 bills because they're superstitious.
Oh, my goodness.
It's drivel.
I wish we could go on, but we'd be wasting our audience's time. Here's the post parade. Race 9, number 1, Rogue Nation comes out for Rudy Rodriguez.
Tremendous numbers off the claim on the dirt with maidens. We'll see what this one does. Took money first time out and lost all chance to start.
Martini Lane has the same owner, trainer, and breeder.
Yeah, by the Great Dame, just leave me alone. This is noble behavior.
Oh, sorry about that. I meant to. I don't know why I jumped to 3.
You
Let
want
me-
a martini.
Hold on. Let me talk about noble behavior, because those are the purple silks that many fear late. The Matisse Racing Stable, always fear them at a price.
That's true.
Great job.
How can I skip right over them?
You were
Martini
doing
Lane.
so well today, too.
Listen, I stumbled late.
When a team watched this show, you would think that it's Martini Day here at Belmont Park Live.
Next will be number 6, Tammany Giant. We'll get back to the Matisse brothers in a moment. But Tammany Giant comes out of a race where the first and third place finishers came back to score, and there was a second and a couple thirds out of that race. Not bad.
Yeah, 0 for 13. Does have a good race. One good race on the dirt.
Andy plays cards. You know it's nothing short of shuffling madness.
You know, this horse, first time gelding, moves to Bruce Brown. I can see some angles here at 9-2.
Next will be number 10, Rodolfo, for Gary Siaka, coming in off a little freshening during the spot time.
By my favorite owner, Giuseppe Piazza. This one by Frost Giant, 0 for 4 lifetime.
Here's number, you know, there's a pizza place in New Jersey that has a picture of Mike Piazza, but they don't have your picture yet. Here's the 12, Foxy's first pick.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for, I guess, Mike Piazza's their first pick. That was, you know.
That was kind of a dig, Frank. That was really unnecessary.
Listen, I'm not kidding. And the 13 is Back of the Watch, the son of Discreet Cat, who is making his second career start, and hopefully Maggie's going to tell us a whole lot more about this guy during the post parade. At the field for today's 9th. This is the final race on this 2-hour
I know a restaurant that has
telecast.
Larry Colmus's picture up and not yours.
I'm
Frank.
sure it does.
Pizza place, too.
Wasn't that the post office? We're going to take
You're
a
up there.
time out. Let me talk about Run Happy for a moment, because he was the Eclipse champion sprinter of 2015, track record setter at Keeneland, won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and he did it all drug-free. And Mattress Mac, Jim McInville, is a big supporter of the New York Racing Association and Belmont Park Live. There he is in stall 1, $25,000. They still haven't raised the price on this guy, and he's getting some outstanding mares. They're very excited about the future for Run Happy, who is now the stallion at Claiborne Farm.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Gonna turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. As we are approaching the nightcap here, you're just taking a look at where Larry Colmus calls the races, as he will be on deck for this finale. And we'll check in with a horse who is coming back off of a layoff in number 2. That is Noble Behavior for the Matisse brothers, as Greg Matisse more specifically, as Frank was alluding to. Always like to see their horses at the races. And Noble Behavior, look, there's not much to go by on his form, but you would have to think that something may have happened last time out. It was the first time he was dropping in for a tag after running in some races that included some okay horses, and he was somewhat bet in his debut. He does come back as a new gelding. He looks more fit than I've ever seen him. Rich coat to him as well. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy could make a little bit of noise at a big price, as he will be piloted by Chris DiCarlo as well. And Frank, you were mentioning number 13, Back of the Watch, obviously because my husband trains him, and Tom Morley, and I hate talking about Tom's horses. I feel like there's just nothing good that can come out of what I can say about his horses. So I'm going to leave it at that as I throw it back to you.
And I actually respect that. I wasn't thinking along those lines, but you talk about there's certain things in life, there's no upside. There's no upside in that circumstance. Andy had kind of mentioned
well,
that
I mean, Maggie will get accused unfairly of silly things by people on Twitter, which so I don't blame her for being frustrated by that as well. Do want to point out Chris DiCarlo. I think he tweeted he has a kidney stone on Twitter today. Hector Diaz will be riding Noble Behavior.
And that's a horse that is a first-time gelding. And speaking of the Great Barrington Fair, you guys are all going with the one Rogue Notion, who is currently Rogue Nation, I should say, 7-5, even money in that click. So the money hasn't stopped.
Even money.
Yeah, they're going to have to send this one from the rail and have to hope he can break cleanly. Rudy's good in these numbers. Even money's a little tough to take. And I'll tell you, Shuffling Madness off the claim, been gelded. I think Shuffling Madness is a better value play at 4-1, to be honest with you. And he has a figure 2 back that makes him a player in this race. I don't love this horse, but I think he's a very, very viable alternative.
I don't see anybody but 1-8-13 here. I
Well,
really don't.
let's talk about the 13 because someone needs to. This horse is getting solid action at odds of 2-1. Debuted in a maiden 40, ran 4th in an 11-horse field, so it was a decent effort. Was up close to the pace.
Yeah.
Lost a little footing at the start, as noted by the very astute chart caller at Saratoga, which is good.
Got a pedigree that can go to dirt too. So
he's certainly a major contender, and the top board states such. 2-1. Solid second choice. These two dominating the wagering. 6-5 for Rogue Nation. 2-1 for Back of the Watch. Any final thoughts, Andy? Any other things to add?
It's just been a pleasure being with you today, Frank.
I appreciate it. It's been fun, guys.
The way they're betting this
is
one,
good stuff. Look, I watch
Good
this
luck.
show, so the opportunity to hang out here and be a part of it is fantastic.
Well, you came with an A game on your tie.
And now, well, I have to. I mean,
He stepped the ties up. He had some, weak moments last winter, and I think, but things have really improved.
I'll tell you, I need as much help as I can get over here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Larry.
And 2 left to load here as Tammany Giant is about to move into the starting gate. And the last one will be Back of the Watch, who will complete the line. Back of the Watch at odds of 2-1, 6-5 on Rogue Nation. And Back of the Watch backs off and comes forward once again and goes in. They're all in line. They're off. Back of the Watch fast from that far outside stall and speeds out to the early lead. On the inside, running in second position is Noble Behavior. These two out to the front. And then it's Tammany Giant away running in third. Right behind them, Rodolfo is fourth on the outside. Shuffling Madness and Rogue Nation down toward the rail. 3 lengths more back to Martini Lane. And way last here is Foxy's First Pick as they make their way through the far turn. 22.95 the opening quarter mile. And it is Back of the Watch who broke alertly here and leads the way by a head. Tammany Giant puts the pressure on second on the outside. And now coming through is Rogue Nation up into third, 2 lengths from the front. Then Rodolfo, followed by Shuffling Madness on the far outside. And dropping back along the rail is Noble Behavior, then Martini Lane. They've gone a half in 46.34. They're into the stretch. Tammany Giant on the outside. Down toward the inside. Back of the watch and Rogue Nation outside of them. And now Rogue Nation to the front. Pulling away here is Rogue Nation opening up by 3. Tammany Giant is second. Back of the watch on the inside is next. And farther out, Martini Lane, followed by Shuffling Madness. Rogue Nation eased up under the wire, won it by 6. Tammany Giant was second. Martini Lane came on late for third. Back of the watch was fourth.
As easy as the other win a couple of races ago for Rudy Rodriguez, Rogue Nation just waited for room, pounced, and jogged home.
You know, he was the best horse, and I think he was probably going to win this race under any circumstances. But I don't understand why Luis Reyes, the 13 back of the watch, broke out of the gate like a rocket ship, and he dragged her back and put everybody else in the race. And I think it really helped Rogue Nation, who was best anyway. And I'm not knocking this horse, but she was going to win. But wouldn't you? You ceded the advantage, right? You slow the pace up and you just let the one right into the race.
Yeah, I'm with you. You do get Tammany Giant, who hung in there, and the 3, the first-time starter here, Martini Lane at a giant price at about 38 to 1. We'll round out your triple. But I'm with Andy. If you go back to the start, watch the 13 break out of the gate, and immediately Luis Reyes grabs a hold, and the horse just starts throwing his head about a quarter of a mile out of the gate instead of just going to the front end, especially in these other races. Now, again,
and speed's been so good, Paul.
The one,
I mean, watch it. Let's watch right now.
Watch the horse's head as soon as he gets to the front end.
He broke like a shot. I mean, if you're watching the pan, the horse in front, it's like, just go, Louis. You got the outside foot, clear over the rail. Why do you take a hold?
Yeah.
Just go.
I
mean,
see the head.
These are lower
right there?
level horses. They're not superstars. And Rogue Nation was likely to win the race. Anyway, I'm not in any way suggesting Rogue Nation wasn't an hour the best. I'm just saying the 13 didn't get his fairest chance.
We'll take a timeout. We've got some nice exotic payoffs under the even money favorite after this.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. Here's Rogue Nation returning to the winner's circle, claimed out of his debut, and blasts home in the nightcap.
We've seen a lot of these Mission Impossibles get into the winner's circle, dirt and turf, out of a Touch Gold mare, Glitzy Girl, EV Racing Stable, and Rudy Rod owns a piece of this this gelding.
Off the top of my head, I believe over the last 5 years, Rudy Rodriguez is 14 for 24 off the claim with dirt maidens and dirt sprints.
Pretty good.
There's a carryover in the pick 6 of $17,676. Here is the Naira Bets late pick 5. Follow along with a 6-5 and even money. Your 50-cent payoff is still just under $10,000.
Amazing.
The 2 short price to close it out.
Unreal.
We've got some graded stakes, 5 of them, in fact, on our shows over the next couple of days. Tomorrow's show will be on between 4 and 6 p.m. We've got the Grade 2 Sands Point, the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile, the Canadian Stakes, the Natalma, and the Summer on Sunday. That wraps up our show for today. It was Pause for the Cause, strolling home in our featured event today. For Paul LaDuca, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale, and Larry Colmus, I'm Frank Miramati. Thanks for tuning in. Again, tomorrow, we're here from 4 to 6. Good night.